Own dirt, not debt. You, right now. Stop renting your life from people who hate your budget and start stacking acres like they're on clearance, because in the next 10 minutes I'm going to hand you the playbook for 15 hidden US states where land is practically free, and if you blink, someone braver is going to buy your future out from under you. I'm not here to sell a fantasy. I'm here to light a fuse. We're talking tax foreclosure calendars, where opening bids start at back taxes, counties that would rather have a responsible owner than another season of weeds, and property tax profiles so light you'll pay them with glove box money. Here are your new commandments: move fast, because auctions don't wait. Buy simple, legal access, clean title, no mystery liens. Carry cheap file exemptions, enroll in the right land programs, let timber or grazing pay the bill. Build small and hard, high R values, metal roof, utilities on your terms, and monetize early. Lease to hunters, glampers, or grazers. While you plan the homestead, you'll hear exact towns, real entry points, and the traps to dodge. If you're tired of paying for other people's skylines and you want an address you actually own, lock in. This is the last fair deal in America, and it's measured in acres. Number 15. West Virginia. You want mountain acreage that doesn't mug your wallet. West Virginia is the stealth value state where raw land still means raw prices. In coal country counties like Mingo, McDowell, and Wyoming, tax-delinquent parcels routinely open at the back taxes and fees, hundreds, not thousands, because counties are legally obligated to move them along and nobody from the coasts is bidding on a ridgetop with a gravel approach and deer tracks for comps. Private listing land averages in the rural South routinely print under $2,000 an acre for woodlots without utilities, and you still see sub-$1,000 acre timber cuts when access is via an unimproved right-of-way. Here's the lever. West Virginia's property taxes are among the lightest in the eastern U.S., so carrying costs on hold and wait dirt are tiny compared to neighboring states. That matters if you're buying before you're building. You'll do adult homework, road maintenance agreements, mineral severance, common here, and a perk test, if you ever want a septic permit. But the upside is ridiculous. Hardwood timber, spring-fed draws, and elevation that drops summer temps without paying mountain resort premiums. Hospitals and groceries cluster around Beckley, Princeton, and Bluefield, so you pick a base town and treat your ridge tract like a weekend project until you're ready to run utilities. Want cash flow? Lease to hunters in season or enroll portions in forest stewardship for tax treatment. Translation: this is one of the last places east of the Mississippi where you can buy real acres for used car money and keep the annual bill smaller than your phone plan. Number 14. Kansas. Forget the coastal joke. Kansas is not flat and boring. It's tax sale heaven if you know where to shop. Out in western counties, think Gove, Trego, Ness, and Barber. Courthouse auctions and sealed bid sheriff sales routinely move vacant lots and odd-shaped ag remnants for the price of delinquent taxes plus filing, because the county would rather get a responsible owner than sit on weeds. Private deals on dry land grass or expired CRP corners can pencil under $1,500, $2,000 an acre when there's no irrigation and access is by section road. The kicker is carrying cost. Kansas property taxes vary by county, but on low-assessed rangeland the annual bite is tiny, often a few 20s per acre per year, so you can hold for a decade without bleeding. The state's homestead refund and seniors' safe senior programs won't matter for bare land, but once you site a small home in a township with relaxed codes, your all-in footprint stays sane. Water is the homework. You're not tapping the Ogallala without paperwork, so plan for hauled water, cisterns, or roof catchment if you're building off-grid. Add wind. Small turbines actually make sense out here because average gusts are a lifestyle, not a storm. Logistics are better than you think. County seats have hospitals, co-ops, and lumber, and Wichita is a parts run, not a pilgrimage. Bottom line, if you're willing to trade trees for sky and subdivision rules for section lines, Kansas lets you accumulate legitimate acreage with auction savvy and a glove box full of cashier's checks. Number 13. Arkansas. Arkansas is the Ozarks to Delta 2 market hack, northern ridgeland for cabins and hunting, eastern flats for ag-adjacent parcels that still trade like the world forgot them. In counties like Izard, Fulton, Sharp, and Stone, Tax delinquent lots in old paper subdivisions, platted in the 1970s, 80s and never built out routinely start at a few $100 plus deed and recording. That's because counties want maintained roads and current taxes, not brushy cul-de-sacs with no mailbox. Private sellers still move timbered 5 and 10 acre cuts under $3,000 acre if you're willing to accept gravel access and do the septic and driveway yourself. What keeps the carrying cost gentle is the overall tax posture. Arkansas property taxes run light by national standards and utilities in smaller towns remain reasonable, so buy now, improve later is viable. Due diligence here means three things: 1. POA/HOA rules. Some legacy subdivisions quietly levy $60, $120/year for road grading. 2. Floodplain maps in the Delta. Cheap dirt can be wet dirt. And 3. Title cleanup. Old liens from defunct developers pop up. Buy with title insurance or a quiet title path. On the plus side, the state's wildlife draw is real. Seasonal leases to deer and turkey hunters can cover your tax bill and then some. Hospitals, regional systems out of Mountain Home, Batesville and Jonesboro keep care within a day drive. If your dream is a cabin pad, a garden, and a tax bill you pay with pocket change, Arkansas is one of the last places where acreage isn't code for second mortgage. Number 12. Mississippi. If you want deep South land that behaves like a coupon, Mississippi is the math that works. Rural counties, think Kemper, Noxubee, Jefferson Davis and Walthall, are still moving vacant parcels at tax forfeit auctions that open at the statutory minimum back taxes plus fees, and bidders who actually show up with research can scoop buildable lots for 4 figures. Private land pricing is equally sleepy. Pine regrowth tracts and cut over 10 acres often live in the $2,000, $3,000 acre band when there's no paved frontage. Here's the underused angle: 16th section lands. School trust properties aren't for sale, but long-term leases can be shockingly cheap for pasture or recreational use, giving you use rights without the purchase price. Carrying costs remain friendly. Property taxes are low. Homestead rules are generous once you improve, and rural power co-ops keep connection fees competitive if you plan a small house later. Yes, you'll respect water tables and get a perk test. Yes, hurricane remnants bring rain. And yes, timber deeds require adult eyes. Reserve clauses matter. But the lifestyle-to-cost ratio is hard to beat. Garden-friendly seasons, abundant game, sawmills that won't laugh at small orders, and hospitals sprinkled along US 49 and I-59, so appointments aren't a road trip. Pro move. Verify county road maintenance, gravel still counts, and negotiate with neighbors for shared culverts and gates. The handshake economy is alive here. If owning land has felt like a TV fantasy, Mississippi turns it back into a Saturday errand with a clipboard, a map app and cash for the clerk. Number 11. Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the practical plains play where you can still accumulate dirt without accumulating stress. County resale auctions in places like Harmon, Greer, Roger Mills and Woods tend to be sparsely attended, and that keeps opening bids anchored to back taxes, small numbers that put entry costs within reach of a normal savings account. Private asking on dry land, grass or post-harvest corners in wheat country frequently starts near $1,500, $2,500 acre when there's no irrigation and road access is caliche or section line. Your carrying cost advantage is twofold. 1. Property taxes on ag-classified land are modest compared with the coasts, and 2. Oklahoma's regulatory posture is straightforward. Permits are a process, not a purgatory, particularly outside metros. Due diligence is non-negotiable. Surface versus minerals is a real split here, and you'll read the deed for storage, pipeline, or wind easements, so you're not surprised by a maintenance truck at sunrise. Water rights are the other grown-up item. In western counties, plan for hauled water, a cistern or a permitted domestic well with realistic yield expectations. The upside: real proximity. Even remote-feeling parcels are typically 30-60 minutes from groceries, a critical access hospital, and a farm supply store that can source culvert pipe and T-posts by Tuesday. For income, seasonal grazing leases and walk-in hunting arrangements can offset taxes while you plan improvements. Translation: buy cheap at resale, carry for pennies, add a driveway and a pad, and you've manufactured a homestead site that didn't require betting the 401k. This is land ownership, stripped back to basics, and the basics still pencil here. Number 10. Alabama. Alabama is where practically free shows up two ways: courthouse steps and ultra-low annual carry. In rural counties, Choctaw, Wilcox, Greene and Pickens, tax sale certificates on small lots and oddball acreage regularly sell for the overdue tax plus interest, and many parcels come back around at county resales if no one redeems. That puts your effective purchase price in the hundreds to low thousands before quieting the title. Private markets are just as forgiving. Cut-over timber 10s and creek-adjacent 5s in Black Belt counties often list under $3,000 acre when you accept dirt road access and do your own utilities. The secret weapon is the ongoing cost. Alabama's property taxes are among the lowest in America, and once you improve and homestead, seniors see further relief at the state level. Exact policies vary by county, but the direction is friendly. Practical checklist. Check FEMA flood. Maps river flats flood when it really rains. Run a perk test. Early soils vary. And get 2 homeowners quotes because wind-hail deductibles are not folklore. The payoff is real. Mild winters, a long growing season, sawmills and supply houses that respect small orders, and regional hospitals along the I-2065 spine so you're never far from care. Want the land to carry itself. Lease to deer clubs. Plant pine on marginal ground for future timber, or partner with neighbors on shared gates and road grading to keep maintenance trivial. If you've been told land ownership requires Silicon Valley money, Alabama grins and hands you a bitter number. Buy smart, file your paperwork, and your annual cost is a rounding error on your grocery bill. Number 9. Louisiana. If you want practically free, to mean low buy-in and featherweight carry, Louisiana is your sleeper state. Parish tax auctions, especially in rural north and central parishes like Tensas, Catahoula, Caldwell, and Red River, regularly move vacant lots and oddball acreages for back taxes plus fees, because the parish would rather collect mowing and millage than babysit briars. Private sellers still let cut-over timber 10s and pipeline easement leftovers go in the $1,500, $3,000 acre band, when there's no blacktop frontage. The superpower is the annual bill. Louisiana's effective property tax rate is among the lowest in the country, so you can buy dirt and think later, without bleeding cash. Just don't skip the flood maps. Homework matters here. Check FEMA zones, and historical high water. The Red Ouachita and Atchafalaya systems have long memories. Red mineral reservations twice. Oil and gas is culture, not rumor. And collect 2 insurance quotes, because wind, hail deductibles and water coverage are 2 different planets. The upside is giant, long growing seasons, sawmills that won't scoff at small loads, farm supply stores that stock culverts and geotextile, and regional medical hubs along I-49 and I-20. So routine care isn't a road odyssey. Want the land to pull its weight. Lease duck holes and hardwood bottoms by the season. Waterfowl money here is real. Or plant pine on marginal ground and let time do what time does. Translation: you trade coastal hype for parish math, tiny entry price, tiny annual carry, and a pathway from weed patch to income patch with a chainsaw, a tractor day rate, and a clean deed. Number 8. New Mexico. If you're chasing true off-grid potential with courtroom quiet carrying costs, New Mexico is the desert arbitrage. In high plains and mesa counties, Torrance, Socorro, Catron, Hidalgo, sparsely attended delinquent tax sales routinely start at back taxes, plus administrative crumbs, and private sellers still move 5 and 10 acre platted desert lots for 4 figures, when access is dirt and utilities are someday. The carry is the point. Assessed values on raw dirt are low, property taxes are gentle, and if you're not improving yet, your annual nut looks like pocket change. But this is grown-up due diligence country. Water rights are law school serious, domestic wells require state permits, and hauling plus cisterns may be your phase 1 reality. Septic is a design exercise. Percolation in sandy soils is friendly, clay lenses are not, and you'll map solar insulation like a pro because rooftop PV actually pencils here. The trade for your homework is ridiculous control. No HOA chimes, no city codes, sky that goes on forever, and utility math that you decide. Solar plus propane plus rain catchment gets you livable months faster than anywhere else in the lower 48. Income options exist. short-term stargazer leases, RV pad hookups, or DIY glamping with vault toilets. Desert minimalism is a marketable aesthetic. Hospitals cluster along I-25, I-10, and border towns keep supplies cheap enough that your build is runs, not expeditions. Bottom line, if your dream is a micro-compound, with a tax bill that feels like a tip jar, New Mexico lets you buy first, breathe second, and build third, on your schedule, not a subdivisions. Number 7. North Dakota. North Dakota is the nobody's bidding, and that's your edge state. Out where the sky is a hemisphere. Bowman, Grant, Burke, Sheridan. County resales often open at the unpaid tax plus filing, because the room is thin, and locals aren't hoarding scrub pasture with 2-track access. Private asks on non-irrigated grass or retired CRP corners still show up in the $1,200, $2, $500 acre corridor, when there's no shelter belt or service line. The carry is comically light. A-class valuations keep property taxes tiny, and if your holding is raw land, you can own acres for the cost of a gym membership in a coastal city. The rules here are simple and strict. Winter is not a season, it's an operating environment. Plan for windbreaks, driveway drifts, and a structure that respects our values. Minerals are often severed, red for salt water disposal, pipeline easements, and surface use clauses, so you're not surprised by a gate check at dawn. Water requires honest planning, stock ponds, rural water hookups, or permitted wells with realistic expectations about depth and yield. In exchange you get practical logistics, grain co-ops that sell posts and fencing by the pallet, towns with clinics that actually answer the phone, and neighbors who still know how to pull a truck with a chain. Monetize it with seasonal grazing, walk-in pheasant and deer leases, or winds telecom easements if you're well-sited. Translation: the buy-in is tiny, the annual cost is tinier, and if you can handle big weather and bigger horizons, you'll own real acreage without adopting real anxiety. Number 6. Missouri. Missouri is the center map bargain, where the Ozarks and the Prairie both offer nearly free, if you shop like a local. In the Ozark counties, Oregon, Shannon, Ripley and Texas, legacy paper subdivisions from the 1970s still cough up wooded 5 acres for 4 figures at county resales or direct from owner deals, because roads are gravel, and buyers want instant cabins, not raw dirt. On the prairie side, Dade Barton, Worth odd-shaped ag leftovers, and creek bottoms trade in the $2,000, $3,000 acre band, when there's no paved frontage. The Missouri advantage is uncomplicated holding statewide, property taxes, trend low, county permitting is pragmatic outside metros, and rural electric co-ops quote hookups, without treating you like a subdivision. Homework you must do. Karst country means sinkholes and springs, great for scenery, tricky for septic. Pull a soil report and plan on engineered systems where limestone rules. Floodplain maps matter on those dreamy creek flats. Cheap can mean wet. Title cleanup on old developer plats is a thing. Quiet title, or insured closes only. The upside is immediate: sawmills that cut your dimensions, feed stores that rent augers, hospitals sprinkled along US 60 and I-44 so you're not white-knuckling emergencies. Want yield? Lease to bow hunters in the rut, plant walnut or pine on marginal soils, or carve a couple of primitive campsites. Missouri's float trip culture will book your weekends for you. Net, buy at tax value, carry for peanuts, improve at your pace, and end up with a cabin pad and a pantry garden for less than a metro parking space. Number 5. Michigan, Upper Peninsula. If you want big trees, cold lakes, and a tax strategy that turns barely paying into basically free, the UP is your play. Counties like Ontonagon, Schoolcraft, Alger, and Luce still move cut-over timber 40s, and quirky, lake-adjacent parcels, at modest private asks when access is seasonal and power is maybe someday. Tax forfeit auctions start where the arrears end, often 4 figures, and the buyer pool is small, because winter scares people who don't own a block heater. Here's the edge: almost nobody outside Michigan knows how to use the commercial forest, CFA, and qualified forest, QFP programs. Enroll larger tracts, manage your timber according to a plan, allow limited public access, CFA, or keep it private with certain rules, QFP, and your property tax burden can drop dramatically. turning holding costs into a rounding error, while your trees quietly turn sunlight into value. Due diligence. Verify legal access. 2-track isn't the same as easement. Pull a timber cruise, if volume matters, and map wetlands, glacial soils, hide spongy surprises. Insurance and utilities deserve a phone day. Snow load ratings, wood propane heat, and whether Starlink or fixed wireless will be your lifeline. The lifestyle payoff is ridiculous. Trout water, grouse drumming in spring, and lake breezes that make July feel like cheating. Hospitals.us 2 and M28 and bigger systems in Marquette handle serious care. Income options. Lease to sledders in winter, anglers in summer, or schedule a selective cut every decade, and let the land pay you for stewardship. Translation. The UP lets you own real wilderness, on a retiree budget, and the tax code helps you keep it. Number 4. Nebraska. If you want acreage that behaves like a savings account with a fence around it, Nebraska's frontier counties are your quiet lane. Out in the sandhills and the table flat wheat belt, think Hooker, Thomas, Loop and Perkins. County treasurer resales, move tax delinquent parcels at bids anchored to back taxes. Because the room is thin, the parcels are odd-shaped, and locals aren't hoarding 2-track pasture with a windmill stump. Private asks on non-irrigated grass or expired CRP corners often land in the $1,500, $3,000,000 acre band, when there's no pivot, no shelter belt, and access is by section road. Here's the nuance that works in your favor. Nebraska's overall property taxes run stout, but on low-assessed range land, the absolute dollars stay modest. Think small line item, rather than budget villain, so holding for years doesn't bleed you out. Your homework is rancher grade. Verify legal access. Section lines aren't always drivable. Check USDA maps for highly erodible soil designations, and ask the NRD, Natural Resources District, about domestic well expectations, before you plan a cabin with a long shower. Wind is a feature, not a bug. Micro-turbines finally pencil in a place where flags point one way for days, and solar is free money on that unshaded sky. Hospitals.us 80, 3C but US 385 spines. Grain co-ops will sell you posts and panels by the pallet, and a used bale bed will do more for you than a brand new SUV. Monetize without fuss. Seasonal grazing leases, walk-in bird leases, or a calving pasture contract. Translation. Buy small, carry light, add water and a gate, and you've manufactured usable land in a state where patience and prairie both pay. Number 3. Wyoming. Wyoming is the freedom file. Big views, small rules, and a tax bill that looks like a joke until you realize it's the actual bill. In counties like Niobrara, Weston, Crook, and Carbon, private sales on sagebrush parcels and timbered breaks still slip under $2,500, $4,000 an acre when access is seasonal and utilities are bring your own. County resales are sparsely attended, and the checkerboard of BLM and state trust ground means you can border millions of public acres with a modest deed. Just verify access, because adjacent doesn't equal legal. Carrying costs are featherweight, property taxes are low, there's no state income tax, and if you're holding raw dirt, your annual nut is often less than your streaming subscriptions. Adult homework matters here. Surface versus minerals can be split. Read for existing oil, gas or pipeline easements, so you're not surprised by a service truck at sunrise. Water is strategy, not luck. Stock tanks, cisterns, permitted domestic wells, and snow fencing for driveway drifts. The build plan is simple. Small footprint, high R values, propane plus solar, and a wood stove, because the wind will visit. Logistics are better than the map suggests. Feed stores do culverts, and geotextile, county road and bridge will tell you what they plow, and critical access hospitals lace US 16-20-85 corridors. Monetize, with antelope and deer leases, short-term cabin stays, or a telecom easement, if you're on a ridge with line of sight. Bottom line, this is where owning land means owning decisions, and the state's tax posture lets you keep them. Number 2. Maine. Unorganized territories. If nearly free to you means buy the trees and the solitude, let the taxes nap. Maine's unorganized territories are the loophole with a lake breeze. County tax acquired lists in places like Aroostook, Piscataquis, and Washington quietly offer woodlots and camp lots at bids starting near the arrears, because there's no HOA to nag, and no city council to woo, just a clerk who wants a responsible owner. Private deals on cut-over 10s and 20s still live in the $1,800, $3, 500-acre band, where access is seasonal and power is a rumor. The carry strategy that makes this sing is statutory. Enroll 110 acres in the tree growth, or for broader uses, the open space program, with a simple management plan, and your assessed value can drop sharply, turning annual taxes into afterthoughts, while your spruce and maple convert sunlight to equity. Due diligence is northern. Verify deeded or prescriptive access. A tote road isn't an easement. Pull soil and wetland maps. Glacial till hides boggy surprises, and price a tight high-R cabin with a proper stovepipe, because January will test your carpentry. Connectivity is solvable. Starlink or fixed wireless ride above the firs, and hospitals along US 1 and I-95 keep you within a day's loop. Monetize the asset between thaws. Selective harvests every decade. Camp lot rentals for sledders and anglers, or a snowmobile trail adjacent yurt that pays your taxes in one good weekend. Translation: the UT lets you own a real piece of the North Woods on retiring math, quiet roads, dark skies, and a tax plan that actually rewards stewardship. Number 1. New York, upstate tax foreclosure belt. You want the shocker. Upstate New York, yes, the high tax state, is where land can be practically free if you shop the right calendar. Counties from St. Lawrence and Franklin across to Lewis, Oswego, Steuben, and Cattaraugus hold annual tax foreclosure auctions, where buildable lots, woodlots, and farm remnants open at the delinquent tax plus fees, 4 figures, is routine, because bidders fear rehab headaches and snow. Not realizing vacant land skips the lipstick bill. Private asks on timber 10s, with 2-track access, still appear in the $2,000, $4,000 acre lane. When you accept old stone walls, mixed hardwood, and a driveway you'll cut yourself. Here's the insider lever. New York's forced tax law, 480A. Enroll qualifying acreage under a forester's plan, and your assessment can drop dramatically, turning a scary state property tax into something shockingly manageable, while your stand grows value. Homework is New York specific. Check for DIC wetlands. Verify no NICGCC utility easements. Cross your cabin pad, and make friends with the town assessor before you file. Winter requires adult specs, roof pitch, snow load, and code enforcement is real, but clear, and easier in rural towns that see camps as normal. Logistics favor you. Sawmills are everywhere. Tractor Supply treats you like family, and rural hospitals line the interstates. Monetize the holding with selective harvests, sugar bush in March, or a simple hunting lease that covers taxes in a weekend. Translation: ignore the stereotype. Follow the auctioneer. Use 480A, and you'll own legitimate northeastern acreage for the price of a used ATV, while the annual bill stays tamed by design.